Hello friends, today's topic is about breathing problem in dogs and cats. I should include cats also because it's a very major problem that cats face and people don't understand it. Now the breathing problem naturally, we relate any kind of breathing problem to one major system that's in the body, which is the very essence of life. So, what is responsible for us to keep breathing? And the breath, they say the breath of life, it is absolutely the breath of life, what we take in every day, every minute, every second, without our very knowledge. So, the thing is for animals too, it's equally important that they are breathing well and they are oxygenating their bodies well. Now, the system that's involved, as you can have rightly guessed, is the respiratory system. But also, you can also have other systems which are causing problems, which have problems that can manifest in breathing problems. Now, I'll start with the different sort of problems that there can be. How do you know your dog has got any kind of respiratory disease, breathing disease? It can be, the most common thing that I see, when people come in is that they say my dog is, breathing in a funny way, he's sneezing or he's, trying to snort out something and it's not coming out. So these things can be from anywhere to a simple allergy, to something that's gotten stuck inside the nose, to something that's gotten stuck behind of the nose, that is what we call the internal nares. Or we can have problems, related to the larynx, that is your sound box, that can have a paralysis and can have a problem. Or there can be problems associated the bronchus, that is your trachea and your bronchus that is into your lungs. Or you can have problems associated with the lungs itself, or the surrounding areas of the lungs, or even associated organs to the system, like for example the heart. You can have problems with the heart. You can have problems, associated with the heart, like for blood, that is anemia. That can also show up like a respiratory disease, as if there's panting or weakness. Or it can be, associated with pain. Dog, you may not show any symptom, but just maybe breathing in an odd way, and that could be just a sign of pain. Or even worse, there can be a metabolic disease, where there's a change in the acid-base systems in your body when the dog starts breathing faster, when there is a metabolic alkalosis, metabolic acidosis, where there is, internal problem which is not at all related with your respiratory system, because not only does your lung take in oxygen to refresh the body, to give energy for the body, because oxygen is the main form of fuel, it is the igniting petrol for the body, I will call it. It also removes the waste products like carbon dioxide. First of all is your nose. Just like for dogs and human beings, our nose is the main organ that takes in the air into our body. Okay. Now dogs have, different types of dogs. We have different breeds of dogs and different types of noses. And along with the types of noses, you can have different shapes of noses. The prime example is your pug. It suffers from what is called as the brachycephalic syndrome. Okay. Brachycephalic syndrome means brachycephalics. Brachycephalics are short-nosed dogs. Okay. They are actually they are unnatural dogs. These dogs, these pug-nosed dogs, short-nosed dogs like boxers, pugs, all of them, Labradors and Beagles, Dachshunds, all of them are really sniffer dogs. They love to sniff things around, and we have also seen many times, dogs can go sniffing around things, and suddenly there may be a bit of grass or something that they sniff inside, and they can get stuck inside and cause an abscess or some sort of disease inside. So these dogs will present with sneezing. They'll be sneezing, and we'll say some dogs they'll keep on reverse sneezing. There's something called reverse sneezing, where the dog takes in the air. That actually is a kind of analogy, like something that is stuck in the internal nerves. So you must check that out also. It can also be caused because of allergy. So you see these pugs breathing, with difficulty, and this goes in. That's because of the soft palate getting stuck inside the trachea. That is, when they are breathing in, the soft palate also goes inside. They breathe in their part of their soft palate. There is no airway, there is no amount of air that is going inside. It is choking on its own tongue, small tongue. They call this, this tondanaluka, they call it in Telugu. So that becomes too long for them. So there is a surgery that we do for pugs for, allowing them to breathe better. Because if this does not happen when they are puppies, then later on, because there is no proper oxygen supply to the lungs, then they can land up with heart disease later, or with throat disease. Now I am talking about the lower respiratory system. They have what is called as tracheal collapse. Some dogs, like the Shar-Pei or the Bulldog, they have what is called as hypoplastic trachea. Hypoplastic means very small. Okay, so the very narrow windpipe that is supplying to the lungs. So imagine they are trying to take in a lot of oxygen. Big dog trying to take in a lot of air through a small pipe. It's like trying to suck one watermelon juice with a tiny little straw. How much will come in? You can't suck in. It will you will have to take so much of energy, effort into that. This is a congenital problem. Or sometimes what happens is, the trachea is your windpipe. Okay, it actually should expand when we breathe to allow more oxygen coming in. But what happens? It's instead of expanding, there's a muscle on top which actually is very weak. With some of the breeds like Yorkshire Terriers and Pomeranians, it starts collapsing. So every time they breathe, they start coughing. It can be a life-threatening issue for them too. We have things like nebulization. We nebulize the dogs. We give medication. I also do a surgery where I can, keep the trachea from collapsing, okay, with a simple method. So that will actually save your dog's life.